Here it is, the long-awaited Celestial Healer Guide. So, Celestial is still my favorite healing power when it comes to healing itself, because, yeah, water isn't a healer, it's just a shielder. So, Celestial is still the best if it comes to burst heals and heals overtimes, and yeah. So, if you should have any questions or even suggestions at the end of the video, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. And let's get started. So here listed all artifacts that can be eligible as a healer, meaning only looking at power, resto, and dominance, which are crucial for the healer role. So we just act as if we had them on 160, and I just wrote down all of their base stats. And these artifacts can be paired together. The amount of power that these first three artifacts give is the highest out of all in the game. That means there are no other artifacts that give more power whatsoever. And as a healer, power is kind of crucial because power scales your power pool, and your power pool determines your base power regeneration. The next two artifacts, Orb and Demon's Fang, are a mix of both and have the highest resto percentage gain. So, whereas the Orb has more base as power as Demon's Fang, but less resto, and vice versa. The rest of the artifacts have dominance. Here again, I have Gemini has the same stats as the Philosopher's Stone, but you will have to choose those artifacts by keeping back in mind what abilities those come with. So, as a healer, for example, I would rather choose the Eye of Gemini instead of Stone because you will want to get the Eye of Gemini's proc, which will recharge Supercharge for myself, but most importantly for your group members, and at rank 200 even gaining 5% dominance and restoration when popping your Supercharge, which will be basically continuously when having scrap on at least 120 onwards, but I will cover this later on. And as you guys can see, I tend to choose a healthy combo of these artifacts. So, choosing one from the high power ones, one from the middle ones, which is balanced between power and restoration and has the highest resto out of all, and one from the bottom that has a little bit of dominance. The choosing of the artifacts is really crucial, but you will always have to make some sacrifices. What I mean by that is, if you look at the top combination of artifacts, being the scrap, I have Gemini and the orb, you can see that those artifacts give about 10k power, 190 restoration, 8% power, 8% restoration, and 3% dominance. Whereas if you would want the scrap, the Demon's Fang, and the orb, the bottom combination, you would have slightly and maybe also significantly more power and restoration overall. Because the power percentage stats are increased by 3%, and if we assume that we have about, let's say, 70k power, those 3% would be 2100 power, and adding the 8,300 to that, we can see that it's slightly more. And concerning the restoration, it's kind of obvious. The bottom combination has significantly more, higher base stats, and also 2% restoration. But therefore, there is no dominance at all that you would get. Although 3% isn't too much, it would be something like 180 if you have about 6k dominance. It's not that much, but it's something. So, summing up, the bottom combination has better stats overall, but, and here is the but, if you're running the bottom combination, you would have to sacrifice your Eye of Gemini and proc for the Demon's Fang, and the power regen of the Demon's Fang realistically isn't that high to be worth running instead of the Eye of Gemini. So this is just an example that can be transferred to basically any circumstance. When choosing your artifacts, you will always have to make sacrifices and compromises. In order to demonstrate how powerful and useful the Eye of Gemini really is, I made a process table that shows you how often within 2 minutes, just as an example, you can pop your Eye of Gemini and of course when to pop it. And all of that will happen with 2 movement supercharges to maximize out your SC spam. That means, as Super Seaweed, you will run Speed Drain with the head mod that gives you the 2.5 supercharge back and Metabolic Boost. For flying, it would be Vacuum Bubble and the head mods. And Dust Off for acrobatics, it would be Devastating Flip and Perfect Poise with the head mod. And for skimming it, it is Dust Off and I assume Gale with the head mod. Green showing you the period of time the Eye of Gemini being in use, which is 6 ticks of Caster's Watch, therefore 6 seconds. then red showing you when your supercharge is in cooldown, and blue showing when it is ready to be used. So the first example is the one I use most frequently. What I do is I pop my first supercharge, which will always be speed drain because you're wearing the head mode for it, so there's no reason to pop the other one first. Because let's say we pop our first supercharge, but then we will get interrupted or have to move forward, and we don't come to pop our second after that. We basically would lose supercharge if popping the one without the head mode. This is kind of obvious. So within the first seconds, your first supercharge is up, and then after those 6 seconds, you can pop your next supercharge, but not earlier because the RF Gemini has a cooldown of 6 seconds. So if you would pop another one too early, it would proc the caster's watch. It wouldn't proc the caster's watch, meaning you would lose supercharge, basically just throwing it right into the bin. And then you would pop speed drain again after it's off cooldown and is being ready to use, and the same for metabolic boost, of course. So basically, it's just a delayed continuation of spamming of your superchargers. This one just causes you to have a nice concentrated burst of supercharge regen, but a longer break. But what you could do other than that is to just install another 6 seconds of delay, shortening the break time, but will the same, yeah, will basically the same supercharge output as before. But what I showed you here is the version of on paper without the script, and here's where the script comes into play, because the scrap changes a lot. When having the scrap at 160 onwards, it will reduce the supercharger's cooler by 22.5%, which is 6.75 seconds on a 30 second supercharge. So your cooler will be reduced from 30 seconds to 23.25 seconds, which is significantly. So you will be able to pop nearly 4 superchargers more within 2 minutes, which is about nearly 12 superchargers within 2 minutes. That is 1 minute and 12 seconds of supercharge regen and buff for yourself as a healer when having the RF Gemini at 200, giving you 5% dom, resto, and health as a buff. So a quick demonstration on how the RF Gemini actually works and how strong it is. So I'm using, of course, the speed drain mod, and one thing that you should keep in mind is you need to be in combat in order to let the RF Gemini proc. So get to combat and then just press speed drain. And here you can see should be 6 ticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as you can see, I can just pop another one. It should be always fully up. So basically, once you're full SC, you will never go out of supercharge anymore. And let me show you what I mean by the 6 seconds delay. So, when you pop your first supercharge, you don't want to pop metabolic straight away. As you can see, there will be only 6 takes of you have Gemini. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's because your metabolic boost didn't pop, because I popped it too early. Everything that I will be going to cover now should be rather self-explanatory. For the blue ones, power of course, because we want power and not health. The yellow ones, either dominance or restoration, depends on how many OP items you have. So a lot of people are using the old ones, so shoulders for example, but I'm not, because I don't want to lose the restoration. So Yeah, I went with dominance. Basically, just keep a healthy balance between both. Red doesn't matter, and those ones you should go with restoration, but simply because I'm a DPS currently, I'm using the mild ones. And these two, yeah, just put in those. And the white ones should be self-explanatory too. Replenishing adapter for the power regen, speed drain hand mod to maximize out your supercharge regen. Neck, of course, restoration, self-explanatory. Accelerated blessing to pop more shields, but it's not that significant at all. Chest mod, so if you have scrap at 200, use this one, reserve tank, because the extended supercharge one won't stack with the bonus you get here. So if you have it at 60 or below, at 160 or below, just use extended supercharge once again to maximize out your supercharge regen. Restorative rather presence lag mods, doesn't matter. Feed mod, inertial innovation 2, just for some extra regen, also does not really matter that much. Hands also not that important, just put in regenerative shielding. And so for the trinkets, supply this one and orbital. Basically the standard setup. But here is where my favorite trinket comes into play, the flash trinket. So what this can do, A, it can basically clip a power, and B, it can give an 8-man shield. So if you want to clip, basically you can clip Admonish right into Consume Soul. So what you want to do is press 1, 8 and then 2. You see, clip right into Consume Soul. And then if you press it once again and hold melee, you will basically pop the 8-man shield. It's not that strong, it's rather weak. For the simple fact that you're running 2 superchargers, your load is obviously being limited. So you should run 1 group heal, 1 heal over time, 1 priority heal, and 1 shield, and of course both movement superchargers. And normally your loadout will look like maybe this. So you have more opportunities to actually put in abilities like Guardian Slide or Virtue Slide. And that's why you should keep those. Those are basically the typical abilities every Celestial Healer usually has. So as usual, clip Admonish into Blight and just consume soul like this. And yeah, so if you are lacking, let's say, the scrap, you could be running Sacred Light instead, just for extra power regen, so it compensates your lack of the scrap.
have